Right now at noon, we have an update on this morning tractor trailer crash in Asbury, Missouri that closed down Mo 171.
And we have an update on the rainfall that fell this morning, and now we're looking at storms moving away from us, but as more in the forecast, I'll have the answer.
Plus, out with the old and in with the new, we take a look at the ever-churning businesses in downtown Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy, and today's top story. A tractor-trailer crash in Asbury, Missouri blocked Mo 171 during this morning's commute. At about 4:15 a.m. Wednesday, reports of a tractor-trailer rollover crash near the Asbury Quick Stop on Mo 171 alerted Jasper County 911. Schrader's Towing responded for recovery. Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers told us the trailer, which was full of 31,000 pounds of air conditioners, was heading northbound when it overturned to the left and ended up blocking the southbound lane. A utility pole was also damaged. However, there were no power outages. The crash occurred in heavy rain and resulted in Main Street being closed both east and west, as well as all lanes closed on Mo 171. Both drivers were not injured and both remained on scene during the recovery. A Joplin man was sentenced in federal court yesterday for receiving and distributing child pornography over the internet. 44-year-old Mark Comer of Joplin was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Stephen R. Bowe to 18 years in federal prison without parole. Comer will be required to register as a sex offender upon his release from prison and will be subject to federal and state sex offender registration requirements, which may apply throughout his life. On March 3, 2023, Comer pleaded guilty to receiving and distributing child pornography. Law enforcement officers searched Comer's laptop in July of 2022 as part of an investigation into allegations of child sexual abuse. Investigators found thousands of photos and videos of child pornography and child exploitative material. Police are searching for a suspect who physically assaulted a 55-year-old woman in a small shed near a train crossing in Fort Scott, Kansas. According to the police department, on September 16th, officers responded to a reported battery incident in the area of 6th Street and 69 Highway shortly before 2 a.m. They found a 55-year-old victim in a small shed just east of 69 Highway. According to FSPD, she said she'd been physically assaulted by an unknown male. EMS took her to a local emergency room, and the Fort Scott Police Department continues to investigate this incident and encourages the public to contact law enforcement if they have any information to assist with the investigation. Another person is sentenced for the death of a woman who was kidnapped and shot after being forced into a well in Lawrence County, Missouri. Frank Sheridan pleaded guilty to 1 count of kidnapping in the 2020 death of Sarah Pasco. A judge Monday suspended his 15-year sentence and gave him 5 years probation. In 2020, authorities say 9 people played a role in Pasco's shooting death. They were also involved in the non-fatal shooting of another woman. Of the 9 originally charged with first-degree murder, Sheridan was released in January of 2022 on his own recognizance after he agreed to testify against the other defendants.
And we had quite a bit of rain last night and early this morning, but the good news is on the radar that is now starting to move away from us down in northwest Arkansas and also across central Missouri. But it left quite a bit, and we'll show you that in just a bit. Also, the rain helped with the allergies. Today, 3.4. Tomorrow, a little bit worse at 6.2, most of that being ragweed, chenopod, and nettle. Temperatures right now, though, are starting to rebound a little bit as we start to see readings in the lower 70s right now, mid-70s out to the west in Coffeyville right now with 75, 74 in Nowata, 70 down in Grove, and a little bit cooler off to the east where the clouds are still hanging in, 63 at Cassville and 64 degrees for our friends in Monette. How about the afternoon? Well, we're expecting partly cloudy skies by this afternoon. Rain showers will be moving away from us, and we'll be seeing readings in the upper 70s by around 2 o'clock this afternoon, then dropping down into the mid 70s by 4 o'clock. And looking down the lane, we have the morning storms that are moving out, but then we have more showers late Thursday into early Friday morning, and a better chance of storms on Saturday. And some of those storms on Saturday are likely going to be severe. So we'll tell you about that coming up in Maine weather in just a little bit.
You might have noticed several businesses have closed up shop on Main Street. KOAM's Amber Jenkins talked with Downtown Joplin Alliance for an update.
Downtown Joplin sees a share of businesses coming and going, but the Downtown Joplin Alliance says this is the journey to find balance.
But there ends up being a lot of service industries and stuff in downtown, which is great, and we want those as well. But we're trying to right now find that right mix of getting enough, food opportunities and fun opportunities and shopping opportunities to engage and create that sidewalk life that really makes downtown feel alive.
Having a variety of customer-facing storefronts can make downtown feel alive. One new business is keeping that in mind.
Like, Carmine's, for example, they moved out of the area completely, like the family did. But another pizza place is coming in that same location, should be open in a few weeks.
One of my friends was in this place called Carmine Wood-Fired, and he had a pretty good business. Of course, he was open limited hours. So we are trying to open up full days instead of just half days.
New York Pizza and Deli isn't the first business venture that Orlando is pursuing. He knows the power of a supportive community.
It's been pretty good. Joplin's taking care of us, so.
Facts! Orlando is eager to take advantage of the downtown's foot traffic while already planning for the next business step.
There's also a nice night crowd. People hang out here and stuff. So we will be providing, I don't have my liquor license yet. It's still in the works, but we will have a full bar. I call it limited full bar.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, a disturbing cell phone video showing 2 people appearing to intentionally hit a cyclist on the side of the road. We'll have the full story. And later, we're making a Parmesan onion board in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Stay tuned. New developments in what police are calling an intentional hit and run out of Las Vegas. 2 teens are in custody after authorities say they ran into a cyclist on purpose and filmed the crash. And we want to warn you, this video may be disturbing to some viewers. CBS News' Jared Hill has the details.
Ready? Yeah. It's a key piece of evidence in a deadly Las Vegas hit and run. Disturbing cell phone video showing 2 people appearing to intentionally hit a cyclist on the side of the road.
A cowardly act that in my 22 years of law enforcement left me personally appalled.
2 teenagers are facing murder charges. Prosecutors say they could be charged as adults. They're in custody nearly a month after police say they targeted 64-year-old retired police chief Andreas Probst.
Justice will be served in this case.
Authorities say the 17-year-old driver was arrested on the day of the crash for traffic charges related to the fatal hit and run. It wasn't until weeks later that they learned of this video.
A school resource officer at a local high school was approached by a student who provided him a video.
With so much attention on the tragic way Probst died, the community and his family are celebrating the way he lived.
Everybody who ever knew him loved him.
He was a jokester, a prankster, and always had a way to make you laugh.
A bit of light during incredibly dark times. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Police say the teen driver was involved in at least one other hit and run, as well as a car theft. Prosecutors are not releasing the identities of the suspects. The Federal Reserve is expected to announce a key decision on interest rates following the conclusion of its 2-day policy meeting this afternoon. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
U.S. stocks opened higher, anticipating what could be some welcome news from the Federal Reserve. Following a string of interest rate hikes since July of last year, the central bank is expected to press pause, keeping its benchmark interest rate at around 5.3%.
It doesn't mean that they're done raising rates.
Greg McBride is a chief financial analyst at Bankrate.com.
The likelihood is that they may choose to raise rates in November or December. There's probably a 50-50 chance of that happening.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has already indicated the Fed may raise rates further to bring inflation down to its 2% goal.
Although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. We are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably down toward our objective.
Financial experts say the Fed will be keeping an eye on the labor market and other indicators to determine future steps.
Unemployment's still below 4%. there's a real strain on the budget of households. Millions of households are living paycheck to paycheck.
After today's decision, the Fed doesn't meet again until November. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Still to come on KOAM News at Noon, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
And we're going to be seeing what's cooking with the weather as we head towards the weekend. Is more rain in the forecast? Find out when we come back. Well, we've been in this drought for so long, and so the rain last night and this morning was certainly welcome across the area, although it did get a little bit out of hand in some areas, and so flash flood watches and warnings were issued. Right now, though, radar is all clear across our area. All the rain has now moved well to the east in central Missouri. Let's take a look at some of those rainfall amounts. You can see most of the area did at least get something last night and this morning, and a heavy swath of heavy rain across Ottawa County, where radar estimates around 7 inches in northwestern parts of the county, then right through Miami, all the way down into western Missouri and to McDonald County, where radar was indicating around maybe 9 inches around the community of Hart, and then a little bit less as you head down towards Pineville. Also another swath of heavy rain in southern Crawford County into northeastern Cherokee County, around 4 inches near Girard, 5 inches in Pittsburgh, and about 4 inches just to the east of Weir. Right now outside looking pretty good. Partly cloudy skies in Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri, and we're looking for a beautiful afternoon. Temperatures are very nice as well, generally in the mid 70s already, 75 in Pittsburgh, 78 in Iola, upper 70s out to the west where they're going to be in the lower 80s later on this afternoon, and of course a little bit cooler off towards the east right now. Rain chances are going to be low today, and then as we go into tomorrow night into Friday morning, that's when the rain chances start to pick up once again across the area, and then especially as we head towards Saturday. The big story tomorrow morning is going to be the dense fog. Now this is the forecast for the visibilities tomorrow morning, and I think it's a little bit too high. I think visibilities are actually going to be lower than this. So if you're driving around, especially in those areas where the heavy rain fell last night, you definitely need to take more time in getting around, as we're going to be seeing lots of dense fog tomorrow. And then by mid-morning, all of that will start to burn off. Dew points are going to be high for the next several days because of all the rainfall. And on Saturday, we're going to have a dry line set up where you're going to have dry air behind the dry line and then very moist ahead of it. And because moist air is lighter or less dense than dry air, we're expecting thunderstorms to explode off along and just east of the dry line. And then by Sunday, the drier air is going to try to make its way back into our area. So here's the storm system this morning. That's rapidly going to pull up to the north and east. Here's the next storm system that's really going to impact us on Saturday as it pulls out into the plains. Lots of strong winds aloft. All the ingredients are coming together for a potential severe weather situation, including the possibility of tornadoes. And so we're going to have to keep an eye on that very, very closely as we go into Saturday. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center is already issuing an outlook for the Central Plains from Iowa right down through our area into northeastern Oklahoma, and that includes most of our area, and the threat risk is primarily going to be low at this point for all of them except for the heavy rain. Moderate risk on the heavy rainfall. In fact, some of the models are forecasting over 3 inches of rain in isolated spots, especially to the south, but a pretty good chunk of the area is going to get around an inch or so with that system on Saturday. But in the meantime, partly cloudy skies today with highs near 80. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, again, dense fog across the area with maybe a few showers, especially south, with temperatures in the 60s. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy with isolated showers possible, highs in the mid 70s, lower 80s. And then as we go into Thursday night and Friday morning, look at the big area of showers and thunderstorms expected to develop, and that will roll across our area Friday morning with temperatures in the 60s. How about the next 7 days? Well, after the showers and storms on Friday morning, then we have another round of severe weather possible on Saturday night into Sunday morning. It's very important for people to be paying attention. And then on Sunday, those storms could stick around and then drier the next part of next week with maybe a few showers on Wednesday and Thursday. But we definitely need the rainfall, and that was very beneficial to help with the drought situation, Caitlin.
Absolutely. And the lightning's pretty fun to watch, let's be honest.
Exactly.
All right. Well, stick around because we're making Parmesan onion boards in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Today he's making the perfect fresh from the oven solution for all your dipping or dunking needs. It's called Parmesan onion boards. Take a look.
You know, this is the time of year when we find ourselves craving soups and stews, since they tend to warm us up from the inside out. And if you're like me, then no bowl of soup, chili, or stew is complete unless there's something to dunk in it. So let me share with you an old world style onion board that's good for dipping, dunking, or wiping the bowl clean. We start by browning a large onion in some butter until it's golden. While that finishes up, we roll out a loaf of frozen bread dough that we've thawed and place it on a rim baking sheet. Once it fits perfectly, we brush it with a beaten egg and spread the sauteed onions over it. This looks amazing. Now, we sprinkle on some poppy seeds and a bit of Parmesan cheese, and into the oven it goes. There you have it, a perfect fresh from the oven solution to dip or dunk into all your comforting favorites. To be honest, it's so good, I could eat half of this before it ever gets to the table. To get the recipe for our Parmesan onion board, all you have to do is check out our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a freshly baked way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. Now here's a look at the 4 state market prices.
Partly cloudy this afternoon with a high of 77. And then as we go towards the weekend, a pretty good chance of showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Some of those could be severe with highs in the 80s, and then drier as we head into the early part of next week. So not a bad forecast across the area. We definitely need the rainfall, that's for sure.
Yeah, right?
You bet.
All right. And what do you have for us tonight?
Well, allotted 5 for starters. For older Americans, a fall can be a life-altering event. Falling sends millions of adults to emergency rooms every year and can often lead to other serious medical problems. We're going to take a look at how a new approach with wide-ranging treatment is making a difference. Plus, a lease signing disagreement between Chanute City Commissioners and Safari Museum and Library, and a new era of education awaits outdoors for one elementary school in Parsons, Kansas. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And thank you for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.